Yeah, you got to, man.
Man,
What's going on, y'all, man? What's going on? Yo, 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 what's good? B
pop
Rock,
up
man,
style
start
on
stuff
y'all.
already, man. He starting stuff already. But
Yeah, man.
yeah, man, we're gonna do a quick 30-minute, pop-up show, man. Since we didn't have a game this week, we told y'all the other night on the post game, we probably try to do a pop-up Q&A on Sunday. So if y'all got questions, throw them in the chat while we, speaking on these two quick hot topics. Well, two quick hot topics. Cause yeah, I mean, look, it's been a crazy NFL year, and it just really reached its peak. Mr. International, appreciate you for following me, my guy, on TikTok and on YouTube. Appreciate it. But yeah, man, Keith, what's up? But yeah, we're gonna talk real quick about these big name injuries. And is it time for the Falcon to go ahead and swing for the fences? I actually think it is. What
Swing
do you
for
think?
the fences.
What
Well, I
you
mean,
think?
let's just be honest, though, bro. I mean, we swung for the fences before. With the whole thing with Deshaun Watson before, being in talks about Lamar Jackson. And so, I mean, it's the thing about the Atlanta Falcons. It's not like we haven't tried to swing for the fences. It's just all about it. We're going to be able to connect and hit it over the fence. So
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know, So I mean, my thing is, the Atlanta Falcons want to take another swing at it to try to see if they can acquire like a big fish to bring down in here. If that fish is available, I say go for it. Why not?
Yeah, but we're gonna get into that in a second, man. But we're gonna talk about these big name injuries right quick, man. That happened
Yeah,
in the
man.
NFL. And man, look, y'all already know it only take one bad game for things to go back sideways. Patrick
Yeah.
Mahomes been in the league 8 years and never been, seriously injured. He's missed, I think, 1 or 2 games. But that ACL just finally gave out. And if y'all been noticing, when they were playing Thanksgiving against the Cowboys, he was limping then.
Hmm.
The last couple of games I watched that he played, that he was limping. So it's really no surprise that he tore his ACL. I think he was probably much pulling the RG3 just playing because he knew it was what was at stake. But
Yep.
at some point, you just gotta swing, swing it. But he did, and he paid for it. And they're out of the playoffs for the first time in what, damn near 10 years. So
Yeah.
yeah, no playoffs with
No, no, no. It's
Patrick
first
Mahomes.
time since 2012. 2012.
Wow. So 13
Yeah,
years. That's even longer.
first time
Yeah.
that first time since 2012. I think they're gonna have they're gonna be in the mix of not making the playoffs and having a losing record.
Wow. That's crazy.
Hmm.
Man, Mr. International, thank you for the donations, my brother. Truly appreciate it. He said the NFL season only proves why a backup quarterback is so important. Absolutely correct.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's true.
Absolutely. Because we going through it right now with Kirk Cousins. So I mean, you absolutely
Hey,
correct.
remember though, bro. Remember this past summer, folks were saying, "Cut Kurt, get rid of Kurt," and all that stuff. And
I know I said
guys
it.
like me and you, we were both sitting here like, I don't think the Falcons should just they should kind of like hold it in the road, kind of hold what you got, because you never know if you're gonna need Kirk again. And I'd be doggone it if we didn't need Kirk again.
Well, not only that, here Penix went playing up the party. At the beginning of the season, it took him a while to catch on to what was going on. So that was another reason why we said, they should have, just see what the season holds. And lo and behold, he goes down with a knee injury again for the third time.
Tough, bro. Tough.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hate it
So
for Michael Penix and his family. More so than anybody else, because of course they got to deal with it, and they've been dealing with it for years. So tough for that. But I mean, one thing about it, when you go through some things and you overcome it and persevere, it does make you a stronger person.
that's
Doesn't
fact.
necessarily mean it's always going to translate to the football field, because that gridiron can care less about your willpower. You just
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the
so
truth? Ho, he said we need to swing for a leader of men as a head coach and a staff that can maximize our talent. Cause we damn sure got talent.
I'm talking
We
about
just got to know how
hallelujah
to hit that damn on switch.
amen, amen on that. Like, nah, for real. All jokes aside, though, man, you really do. Because I mean, it's going to start with them. Because no matter what excuse me, no matter what players you bring in here, it's like if the leadership isn't up to par, and if the message isn't there, or if the message is there but it's not translating to the field, then you still got an issue, no matter what superstar players or whatever that you bring in. But getting back to the injury though, man, that's unfortunate for Mahomes. I gotta make sure my mom is all right because I know that's her boy, her and Lamar Jackson. I mean, him and Lamar Jackson
Yeah,
are her
yeah.
boys.
Mama
But
love them.
Mahomes, you know the light skinned one, the first one. Gotta
Oh
be
yeah,
him.
no doubt.
Well, yeah, so I gotta check on her, make sure she actually. I doubt she even knows that it's an ACL. But
But
still, man,
I
it's
got a
it's
chat for
devastating.
I got a question for you in the chat right quick.
But
With Mahomes going down with an injury, and I know somebody's going to ask this tomorrow, so I'm just jumping ahead of the curve because I didn't heard it yet. But is this going to play a part into Andy Reid's future as Kansas City's head coach? Because he's coming
definitely.
down to the wire. I feel anyway when it comes to coaching, he doesn't have anything else to prove. So,
Mhm.
how much did you think this play into Andy Reid's future with the Chiefs? Because I felt already he wasn't going to probably coach them but another year or two. Because he's near 70 years old if he's not already there. So,
Ye-
what you think?
Yeah, bro, I'm not gonna lie to you, family. Man, it all depends on first of all how much he still thinks he has left in the tank, and it also is going to. But this injury, it hurts because even if you do have something left in the tank, it's like I don't have years to waste though. So,
Right.
and we already know torn ACL for Mahomes right now. I know he's a tough guy and all. He may be back before the timetable, but also you got to think about it. He's another one you may not even see in 2026. So with
Ooh,
that
boy, that
being
would be
said, are
ugly.
you? That's what I'm saying. But bro, I'm just saying he tore his ACL now. We're talking about a guy in our own quarterback in Michael Penix Jr., who had a
Right.
partially torn ACL in the knee
But,
that he
but,
never tore ACL in. And we're talking
right.
about he possibly may be out for the season. So a complete tear of the ACL, I'm just figuring we're not going to see Mahomes in 2026 with how late it happened in the year.
I can see that because we sure talked about that, man. About how Pitts is. They say 9 to 12 months, but depending on he had total reconstruction of the knee. So we
Mm-hmm.
talking about his rehab because be set back once or twice. Because when you talk about full reconstruction, you got to go in, switch stuff around, make sure everything is right, and then you got to let the swelling go down before you test it. And then what if you have to go back in to fix something else? It's just things like that you have to think about. And it's the same thing for Patrick Mahomes. And I think this is going to hurt this team. And they may, who knows, they may go out and sign a veteran or go get another young quarterback. But it's guys in
Mm-hmm.
in the league that Andy Reid has worked with that I feel like he can bring in and be a bridge for the season. So we'll see how it plays out. But
I mean,
another,
guys
yeah,
would sacrifice to play for Andy Reid anyway. I want to throw that
oh
in
yeah,
too.
no doubt,
The
no doubt.
pedigree of the coach, and it's like if a guy can get out of a contract or get out of a situation and end up going over there, I think they definitely do it. We talk about possibility of a Kyle Pitts working in an Andy Reid type of a system. But it's also like other quarterbacks that can work into his system as well, and it'll be interesting because Andy is a guy that can get the best out of a quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see if they do make a move and like who will be it because you can see to me, I don't think, I'm saying Gardner Minshew is the backup that's going to be able to get them to the promised land while or at least, have them playing competitive ball while Mahomes is still out.
Well, I give you one right off the top before we go to the next guy, and everybody keeps screaming his name for it. Now, I say Matt Jones.
Yeah,
Matt Jones is a
yeah.
system fit for what Andy Reid
Mhm.
likes to do. So I can see Matt Jones.
Definitely.
But another injury, big injury, non-contact injury.
Oh
Michael
my
Thomas.
gosh.
This has to be the biggest shocker of the season to me, man. Um, they spent a king's ransom to go get him, and I'm glad they
Yeah,
did because he's been there but freaky since he's been there.
yeah,
You got
yeah.
to know when you out there making plays and running around for 25 to 45 minutes a game, putting torque on those legs, man, you got to know it's going to come. So this to me was the biggest surprise. Now you got to think Dallas is probably glad that they got rid of him. They got 2 first-round picks. They flipped one of those to get, Quentin Williams. So Dallas made some good
Yeah,
moves. But
Dallas definitely won now for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Definitely
So
won. But you want to know who else won? And I know this is off subject, and maybe I'm just including just to include, but bro, we won. Because remember,
yeah,
we talked about trying to get a guy like Parsons in here for the longest. You know what I'm saying? We talked about how we should have drafted him possibly. We talked about, hey, how we should, spend us a couple draft picks on him. How maybe if Kirk Cousins wasn't here, we would be able to have him. But then we go out and we draft a guy like James Pierce Jr. We go
right,
out and get a guy like Jalen Walker. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Those two guys, between the two of them, but they have like 14 sacks between the two of them right now. So the Atlanta Falcons won too, because we wanted a player like that, and I believe we are grooming those type of guys. And we didn't even have to give up any draft picks. We didn't even have to get into that sweepstakes, because now the Packers are looking like, what in the world do we do now? Because they're going to the playoffs, but your defense just took a major hit. And I know even Christian Watson, somebody who's emerging finally as their number
right,
one, he went
right.
out as well with a chest injury, and he had to be hospitalized. So,
But that's the thing about him. He's been hurt ever since he's been in the league. Let's just get that out the way.
I
But
know I hate for him too, because he's a talent. I mean, you see it when he's healthy. You literally see the talent. But again, your availability is your best ability. That's for any player. What you mean?
that's facts. But like I said, the thing about Green Bay is the system that they run on Matt LaFleur. On any given Sunday, any receiver can shine. So Christian Watson, just like when he got, they got Jaden Reed back, so that was a plus. So when you see them, get these guys back, Romeo Dobbs, he's been hurt a lot of his career, but he stepped up this year. What's the other kid, the tight end that was playing last week, had all those catches. Yeah, he's on IR though. But I think with Matt LaFleur's system, it's pretty much like Shanahan, and I just think anybody can thrive in it. So now I think Josh Jacobs and those running backs will be used more than now than ever, especially going into the playoffs, playing in Green Bay. If you get a home game, we know how it is to play in Lambeau Field during playoff time. Running the football is very important. So I feel like they will make it with Jordan Love in that run game, but can the defense hold up? Because out your top pass rusher, I mean, you probably gonna give up more points because you don't have the pressure to get on the quarterback. And you got to remember that you traded your best defensive tackle to the Cowboys for this guy. So I mean,
Hey,
it's
I'm
just
just
gonna be the
saying,
same.
man, we know about it. I mean, now he's no Michael Parsons, not not by any stretch, but he is an athlete in his own regard. Look how
Right.
bad our defense was without Divine Diablo.
Oh yeah, yeah. And he's what a veteran, about a 3 or 4 year veteran, and we didn't even think he was a signing, off-season signing. We didn't even think he was gonna have that kind of impact. But to
Yeah,
see how the linebacker room just fell off after he got hurt, we went on a losing streak, and I guarantee you, if he didn't get hurt, 2 or 3 of those games, we probably would have won. So your impact players are very important in the NFL. So Michael Parsons, Patrick Mahomes, out for the season, probably not part of next season. We just see how surgery goes, how recovery period goes, if there's any setbacks. Same with our quarterback, Michael Penny. So this is a year of the ACL. So I mean, look, you can only pray about it and keep going.
that's
Jeff, what's
crazy
up, my guy,
work.
man? Where you been? Where you been?
That's crazy work, man. The year of the ACL.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Oh,
just
Lord.
being real about it, bro. Look, so sometimes it can just happen. But let's get into the main topic right quick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think it's time for the Falcons to go for it. And Jeff said he would get butt boot ass naked with Joe Burrow on the Falcons. He would actually have a defense in the run game and an offensive line. And he's absolutely correct. And this is why
No,
it came up in my mind. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no. I was saying the same thing. I was like, he's right. I mean, he got everything that he don't. Just about over there in Cincinnati.
Right. And the reason why it came to mind is because I started to look at the roster, and we know we don't have a first round pick, and we know this. But
Hmm.
the reason why it came to my mind is because of the Rams and what they did with Matthew Stafford. They had a pretty good team when they traded for Matthew Stafford. They knew they just needed one more piece. We knew
Hmm.
Jared Goff wasn't Sean McVay's type quarterback, and he went out and got a rocket arm quarterback because he know he needs that to push the ball down the field. And guess
Hmm.
what? He went out and traded Matthew Stafford. They got what, three first round picks and two players. And when you look at it, I
And
have
the
no
Rams.
problem with that.
Yeah,
But
Rams
the
still won.
Bengals, yeah, yeah, the Bengals. We know Joe Burrow. You saw the interview the other day, the press conference or whatever it was. He was talking about it. It got pretty weird and pretty dark real quick. But he was basically, in my opinion, just saying, it's time for me to find somewhere else to go where I can win. And can
Well,
you blame him? But
well, I got well. To be honest with you, like
okay, good.
um,
Good.
I got exactly what he said. So Joe Burrow, for those who didn't, because I'm pretty sure, we're football fans, but who really watched the Bengals? So in respect to the people who didn't see it, the comments were basically as follows: if I want to keep doing this, and he's talking about playing football, I have to have fun doing it. And
Correct.
he says, I have been through a lot. If it's not fun, then what am I doing it for? That
Facts.
is the mindset I'm trying to bring to the table. And just those comments right there from Adam Scheffler, he even said he felt like those were intriguing comments on his podcast. And he did confirm that I can tell you for a fact that other teams took notice of that. How do I
Oh
know?
yeah, no doubt.
Because I was texting with some of them, when all this was transpiring in that press conference that Joe Burrow had on Wednesday. So again, people took notice of this, and those speculations are of, is he going to request a trade, or is he even retiring? Now, Joe did come out and say he's not retiring, he's not requesting a trade.
Yeah,
But of course,
they done
this
said
is
that
all
before.
premature. We in December. You know what I'm saying? We in December. That's all still premature. You're still focused on the last remaining few games we have for the season. So, and I mean, let's just be honest too. Joe is going to say all the right things, So he's
Right,
not one of those
PR.
type of, yeah,
Yeah,
he's not one of those type of quarterbacks like, yeah, man, I want out of here. So again too, but he did emphasize that he's not retiring or anything like that. But I'm just saying those are very intriguing things. I even got something else. But you want to know something that's even more intriguing than that, though, Smitty?
throw it out there.
Do you remember a quarterback by the name of Andrew Luck?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So when he retired, Andrew Luck played 86 NFL games. Andrew Luck was sacked 174 times.
Wow.
86 games, 174 sacks. Joe Burrow has played 73 games and has been sacked 203 times.
Oh hell no.
13
Yeah,
games
sack money.
fewer and sacked 29 times more. So again, to me, you Smitty, like you were saying, it got dark pretty quickly. But it sounds like a guy to me that is saying, "Look, man, he is reflecting, he is contemplating, he's being thoughtful about what his future holds." And I ain't gonna lie, if you're a Bengals fan, those words, it's an almost made you crash your car. You know what I'm saying?
And
Respect.
then you got to think he didn't emphasize this, but this from my experience is what I done saw over the years. Bengals cheat. They'll just keep it real.
They
Until
are.
these three contracts that they just paid out, you had other guys leave. One of their best defensive tackles, they didn't want to pay him no more. Geno Atkins, he just sit
Mhm.
out, didn't never play again. Carson Palmer was another one.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon just recently. So one thing that
And
you
then
got to understand about the
Trey
NFL, we
Henderson.
talk about, right? And he's going to be gone after this year. So when
Hmm.
you look at the organization as a whole, they have a lot to they just have a lot to sort through because those three contracts, like we talked about in Atlanta, is going to take up the books. But I know y'all sitting back wondering how we gonna make this move, and we talking about money. Well,
Hmm.
Kirk Cousins on the really old, 10 million, in guaranteed money. and the rest will be probably dead cap, but they can spread that over the next 5 years, till the front don't knows that cap. Um, Also, when you look at draft picks, yeah, we don't have a draft pick first round this year, but this is the main reason why I would think about doing this. You trade that second round. Well, you probably trade that second round pick this year. Probably get a fourth in return for this year. And that'll give your draft pick back. Then the very next two drafts, you give the first round picks for those drafts. Then you probably can trade another one of your players. I mean, we don't know which one, but I'm sure like I said, Drake London, he could be one, but they already have receivers, so that may not work. You could do a sign and
Yeah,
trade with Kyle Pitts. That could work.
yeah. I'm about to say,
So
yeah, you're going to have to be a sign trade.
yeah, so I mean, Jesse Bates, you can send him back, sign it. Well, trade him back, because they do need safety help. But you got to remember the reason why he's talking like this is because they just made the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, and ever since then it's been straight downhill. So when you're looking at that aspect, and then he's dealing with injuries, constantly having to keep coming back from injuries, and and then just last year he put up crazy numbers. He led the league in attempts at 652, pass yards almost 5,000, and 43 touchdowns. So he's put up the numbers, and they're really empty numbers because they can't capitalize on it. And when you look at what the Falcons have compared to the Cincinnati Bengals offensive wise, if the Falcons add a solid number two receiver, they already have Bijan. If Tyler comes back, they can sign him. They have an effective offensive line, and they have a solid defense to build around. And if Joe Burrow, would you say no to that? Let's just keep it real. Would you say no to that?
Oh, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Now I get it. You know, saying how some people gonna be like, all right, Joe Burrow is just as hurt as Michael Penix or vice versa, whatever you may look at it. But my thing is, I know exactly what Joe Burrow can do. And when Joe Burrow is upright, my thing is Joe Burrow's
They
biggest thing.
pick
I
you
just
apart.
said it. He's been
Yeah.
sacked 204 times. That means he has no offensive line. He's never really had
Right.
an offensive line. So if you give him a competent offensive line, if you get a Joe Burrow, our offensive line, Joe Burrow is able to throw for more yards. He's upright. One thing about it, he's an elite processor, an elite thrower, pretty much an MVP type candidate when he's able to stay upright and stay healthy. That's going to be the biggest question, though. Can he stay healthy? So because I mean,
Right.
technically, you can look at it and say, well, we already have technically a Joe Burrow. We just don't know exactly what all he can do. And it's like, yeah, but no. What I'm saying? Because we know exactly Heisman Trophy winner, national champion. And Michael Penix, he was close to being there as well. But of course, again, going back to veteran quarterbacks, this system, especially if Raheem is still going to be here, because that's another thing that plays a part into it. Who is going to be here as the head coach, as the GM? And if a new GM and head coach comes in here, then you never know. Maybe they could look at it and say,
Right.
hey, man, let's go get Joe Burrow. You're going to have to give up an asset or two here. But let's try to go, get these guys a quarterback, a win now type of situation, and see what we can get to. Because when you get to be 8 years out of the playoffs, for whatever reason, you start trying to figure out what can I do? What is it can I do that make our franchise relevant again? And going to go
Quarterback
get Joe
position always the
Burrow,
answer. Yeah,
yeah, well,
that's always the answer.
just like you got right here behind us, go for it. If he
Yeah,
becomes available, I think you got to get into the sweepstakes. I don't.
yeah,
I hate it
absolutely.
because again, we got a rookie quarter. We got a quarterback that's on a rookie contract still. That we still don't even know exactly what we have in him, and then you still did have to deal with the Kirk Cousins thing. I think you need to cut Kirk, not because you want to, not because you don't need a quarterback, but because that money's going to set you back. And then if you have to extend him, that's going to set you back even further. So it's
Man,
like,
let me read the numbers off right quick before you keep going. When
no,
you
do
look
you
at his
think?
contract, when you do his contract, Dak Prescott, I'm looking right now, they just lost to the Vikings. And it's going to get harder for them to make the playoffs because they 6-7-1 right now. And Minnesota just pretty much probably knocked them out the playoffs. But it would really come down to the NFC South and what happened there. But 2025 this year. His cap hit is 46 million. And Dak Prescott, as I'm looking at, I'm just telling y'all, his contract is 60 million. You have
Mm.
Trevor Lawrence at 55 million, and you have what was that other quarterback? Jalen Hurts. He's at about 53 million, and he's below all of these guys. And you listen to what I said earlier with the stats. Joe Burrow led the league in completions, in passing yards, and touchdowns last year.
Mhm.
And you mean to tell me you wouldn't risk two more first round picks? Look at what the Rams did with Matthew Stafford. What did the Falcons pull that off? They had an offensive talent. They had an offensive line. They have key pieces to deal with to build around on defense. This move to me is a no brainer, and no in the hell, nobody can tell me different. 46, and we gonna have the cap space, and then you cut if you make a trade for Jesse Bates and you find a way to get off Kirk Cousins contract. Yeah, you're gonna have dead cap space, but you can lower that by keep kicking the can down the road, so you can make room for Joe Burrow's contract. It's just are they going to be willing to trade him, or
Yeah, right.
do you have enough? Because you see what they did with Trey Henderson this year. They kept running, running the man around the circuit the last 3 years, and finally they gave him some money. But guess what? He ended up hurt this year. So
Yeah, that's what I'm
look,
saying. 'Cause I know that sucks for him. He's like, godly. Oh yeah, and David Armaniata are probably not going to be back next year either.
yeah, and I think and he's
No.
still only 29 years old. So I think you give them one key player, a second round pick, and two first round picks. I think you got to try to go for it, man. I mean, because you have too much talent to just throw away. And like Chris said, think about the roster. That think about what if we get a new coach. And Chris, what is one name that I called that I said if they got fired, he'd be a nice addition as an offensive coordinator. Zach
What are you
Taylor.
talking about?
I said,
Yeah, Zach Taylor.
yeah,
Yeah,
as an offensive coordinator. So if that could happen,
and
I could
think of
definitely see Joe Burrow here. Because go ahead, go ahead.
now about just to add to that and just think about it too, man. Even though he's been paid, it could affect decisions from Chase, what T Higgins. You never know. I mean,
Right.
Chase should already be here anyway, if you ask me. But that's neither here or there. I'm
Yeah,
not
you
going to
should
go
have
down that
drafted
rabbit
him.
hole
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
But
That's par
but
for the
yeah,
course.
you're right. But again, if Joe Burrow is on the move, even if it's let's say even if it's not the same season, you never know. A season or two, you may have a guy like Chase saying, "Hey man, I don't know what y'all doing here, but I'm ready to move on." And then the Falcons could be ready to pounce again because the
Right.
Falcons still need wide receiver help. Um, it's not a guarantee who's going to be paid, who's not. I honestly, for me, I just cannot wait. Like I'm enjoying the rest of the season from an evaluation standpoint. But bro, I can't wait until we get to the off season because we are in so much limbo about things that we could do, we would want to do. But at the end of the
Right.
day, we got to see who's going to be here
But you
in the
want to
front
some
office and the head coach.
But the crazy part about the back end of the contract, Chris, he still wouldn't not be making much as Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, or Jalen Hurts because those guys are in the 60 range by the time, and we ain't even talking about Mahomes. You talk about 26 salary cap hit, 48 million. The next year, 51 million. And then the next to the last year is 53 million, but the dead cap is only 15. And in the last year, if you don't want him here, it's only 2 million. So the last 2 years of that contract are very doable when you come to dead cap space. So you're basically only have her for 2 years. And if that doesn't work out, then guess what? You move on, play that little dead cap space, and you just keep it moving. But you got to take a chance. And at this point, if
You
Arthur
never
Blank
know.
talking about being serious, nah, you just nah. But
That's how you do become a serious contender, though, man. You got to take risks. You got to take moves. Again, man, we are a franchise that, like something has got to give. So
right,
again, like he's not. I mean, right now, saying no trade requests, nothing right now is going on. But I think in the offseason, it is something to monitor, especially like for a team like the Falcons. And shout out to Smitty because he has been talking about the Kyler Murray thing for a couple of weeks now. But I ain't gonna lie to you. Like Kyler Murray, I'm not sold on. But I tell you who I am sold on. I'm more so sold on Joe Burrow than I am
right.
Kyler Murray. If you can go
Right.
get Joe Burrow, I'm on board I'm on board and I'm in the boardroom for however we can make that happen. More so than Kyler. Because I know again, Kyler is going to be cool, but I still feel like that's just a bridge quarterback. I feel like if you get
Right.
Joe Burrow, that is your quarterback.
And he and Kyler Murray actually his contract is very affordable as well. When you talk about starting quarterbacks, so when you talk about starting quarterbacks, yeah, it's definitely doable. Shador Sanders not with Zach Robinson. No, if we get a coordinator that in a so like a say like a Kyle Shanahan, somebody that's polished, with a run heavy offense that makes it a little bit easier on the quarterback, then I can see Shador. But we did with Zach Robinson. If they come back, hell no. But if they go out and get a West Coast style guy that can run offense to a T and be consistent, I would definitely think about it because he's on a rookie deal and you see what he can do. He played terrible today because they were calling ass plays. Let's keep it real.
I was about to
So I
say,
mean, Stefanski is just not that good.
Stefanski. That's why I say I'll be looking at Stefanski side.
Willie, Willie appreciate the donation, my brother. He said the Falcons win out and both Carolina and Tampa lose out. We win the South? No, we're out
No,
completely. There is no way we can win. Whoever wins, and the thing about it, they play 2 of the last 3 weeks. So whoever win one of those games and one of those games in between, that's who's going to win the division. Yeah, we're totally eliminated, and the Vikings got eliminated tonight. So
and yeah, 'cause even if they tied, even if the the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Aints they tied both games, we still can't win it.
right. So I mean, hey, that's how it goes sometimes. But it would be nice. But honestly, I don't want to see the team in the playoffs. They ain't finna embarrass me.
I know that.
A Need One says Z Rob is here next year. I'm not watching this team. I mean, look, I got to report it, so I got to watch it. I can see Jameis. I can see Jameis as a bridge quarterback, definitely. The bridge quarterback personally, not Burrow. I mean, but sometimes when you got this kind of talent, you just can't let it go to waste. That's all I'm saying. If you let this kind of talent go to waste, when you get this kind of talent put together again. Look how long it took us to get this talent, all this talent at wide receiver, tight end, running back, edge rushes, just all at once. Safety, linebacker. I mean, we got talent all across the board, but we just don't have the right coach, the right offensive coordinator, and I just don't think it'll happen again no time soon. So shit, if Joe Burrow available, go for it. Because guess what? I think how many years was Matthew Stafford in LA before they won the Super Bowl? It was like his second year, right?
Oh, I say it happened almost immediately. It was like like the second year. It was they didn't have to wait long for that to happen. And then you think about it too. To add to your point about the talent, another reason why we have so much of this talent is because we've been losing for so long. So it's like now it's time to get out of that rut of losing. Like we have real talent that you see week after week. So it's like, okay, we got to be able to put it together. It's time to finally turn this thing into a playoff run. Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, remember, we have guys like AJ Terrell that I understand. Don't worry about the penalties and stuff that he just had in that last game. Remember that he's been holding down the Falcons since he was drafted. No
Right.
playoff appearance. Don't know what that atmosphere is like. Always watching it on TV like the rest of them.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that. Like, these guys, we got the talent. Bijan Robinson, like, will he ever reach the playoffs as a Falcon? You start Drake London. You start asking these questions.
And we done seen that too many times with Jerry Riggs for one, former Atlanta Falcon running back legend, leading rush in Atlanta Falcon history, had to go to Washington to win the Super Bowl. So when you think about it, man, it just only makes sense that Arthur Blank, if he's gonna make a move, I can see Matt Jones or Charles. I could definitely see it.
Yeah,
But I think Joe Burrow will just put us over the top, man. And it's something you got to think. Being sacked 203 times, that's got to be part of why he's been injured. Let's just keep it funky. We have
that's a
a
lot
10
of
times
hits.
better offensive line. Yeah, it is. Bro, he's been here since what 2020. That's 5 years, and you've been sacked 40 times. I mean, 200 times. That's 40 times a year. That's crazy.
Yep. That's what I'm saying. That's extra hits. They always talk about protecting the quarterback. You hear every analyst that talk about protecting the quarterback. Anybody and everybody protect the quarterback. The Bengals have just never protected the quarterback. And
Right.
he's taken so many hits, and salute to him for being able to take as many hits as that. Because again, like Andrew Luck, they're two totally different players, and Andrew Luck played the game differently from Joe Burrow for sure. So some of those hits that he took and some of those sacks that Andrew took was kind of self-inflicted because of how he played the
Right.
game.
Yeah, got him
But
running.
still,
Right.
yeah, he did a lot of running. So so you look at it, yeah, great quarterback, but if a guy like Burrow, if you can just limit those, if you can cut that down, like even with Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix, between the two of those guys, our offensive line, for the most part, have been able to keep those guys from getting sacked
Right.
overall, more so than like a Joe Burrow. So if you put him behind the offensive line, and he can move around a little bit, he's not a statue. So he can move around a little bit, and when he could definitely process the field, could definitely make all the throws, and that's what you want. He can get the
Agreed.
ball to the skilled players, let them take off, and then having Bajan and Tyler, that will help extend Joe Burrow's fun and his career.
Yeah, it's true. Keisha, what do you got to think about the reports of blank evaluation of football operations? I talked about that a couple of days ago, Keith. It really depends on what he sees the last couple of games. But to me, if you look at ever since that last game in New Orleans last year where they lost after starting 6-3, it's been downhill from there like 7-16 or something like that. So when you look at that,
Mhm.
that's enough to let me know he's not the one. And I'm gonna just keep it funky with you because even though we won that game the other night, Tampa gave us that game to win. Tampa
Yeah,
only had made one play down the stretch to lock that game up, and Baker fluked. So
hey man,
yeah,
thanks.
hopefully he's got his mind made up, but we'll see. Larry said, "Did y'all see the Panthers try to steal the Falcons fan swagger by having a kitten parade in New Orleans? That's extra lame. They get their own swag. That's absolutely true. I did see that.
Oh wow, I did not know they were doing that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, they
Yeah,
little bro at the end of the day at heart. So they, and invitation is often flattery. So I just feel like they trying to be the Falcons at the end of the day so much because ain't nobody wasn't thinking. First of all, wasn't nobody in Carolina thinking about no doggone parade
Until y'all seen Falcon fans, shout out to the Rise Up tour, shout out to Falcon fans going out there just being a part of that. Um, what I'm saying, in New Orleans, now all of a sudden they want a parade. I'm
right.
like, all right, yeah, get your own swag, get your
Yeah,
own
Beasley.
style, man.
Beasley. That was the one of the reason that was the last straw for me when he was up there on camera acting like they didn't won the Super Bowl and they got a losing record. That shows ego to me.
Bro.
So
It, my
yeah,
thing is, it would have been so much more better if we were 9-5 instead of 5-9.
right. My point is
You know, it just would have looked better. Like you look like I ain't trying to I'm just taking this completely out of football. This has nothing to do with anything personally, but it's just like when you see stuff like that and just taking it outside of the Falcons, you see it from different franchises. You be like, come on, bro. That's why y'all the way y'all are now.
right. Ego.
It's
Ego.
like, man.
Oh, I forgot to throw this in. I was gonna throw this in too. We've been talking about knee injuries all night. So think about Braden Trice as well. First 2 seasons, knee injuries. So look, these are the
I
tough
don't expect
decisions
him
we
back.
gotta make. Yeah, these are tough decisions we gotta make.
And I know
So
folks gonna be like, "Well, how you just gonna get rid of Braylon? We don't know what he is." I'm gonna tell you what he reminds me of right now. He reminds me of a guy that can't get on the field, a guy that probably could have some potential, a guy that we actually did see. He right now, he's reminding me of Troy Anderson because
I can
you
see
had
that.
that. I'm just saying, you had the injury. You came back, you played, you played. I mean, you played preseason, then all of a sudden you went back to IR. So it was something that wasn't going on right with that knee. And of course, everybody's genetics and everything. Everybody heals differently. So It's going to be interesting. But what I don't want the Falcons to do, I don't want the Falcons to lose out on a player because you're trying to preserve a spot or keep a spot for another player. Just like
Right.
how we did this past year. We let Nate Landman go because you like, well, Troy Anderson is the better overall player. I didn't disagree with that. All I'm disagreeing with Nate Landman is more available than Troy Anderson. So you let
Yeah,
Nate
that's
go
true.
walk. So you let Nate walk for $1 million, and now he's gotten extended and as he should, and
I hope he
by the
goes well.
Rams. Right, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So so extension and all that stuff let him go. And now we have a guy named Troy Anderson that I don't even know if he's ever going to get on the field again. Like honestly.
I said he got one step into retirement already. That was my thoughts, 6, 7 weeks ago. But the crazy thing about Braden Trice, he was part of that class with Brandon Dorless, and he had the same, type college, numbers as James Pierce, as Brandon Dorless at their positions. They had the best pass rush win rate in the country for their positions. So you add them in because you see it breaking. Dorless breaking out this year, wondering where
Yes,
he
sir.
sat all last year. James Pierce is breaking out as a rookie. His pass rush win rate was one of the best in college football. So was Brady Trice. So I feel like Brady Trice could have contributed as well. They probably wouldn't have had to go get two edge rushers. But they say everything happened for a reason. So we'll see just how see it plays out.
I think the reason why one reason why Dorless was not able to get on the field like that last year is because we still had Grady. I mean, he wasn't going to start over Grady. He wasn't going to take snaps away from Grady. So I think about that as well. I mean, I know that folks, a lot of people say Rook, but I mean, Rook got more playing time than Dorless. And you look at it now, there's times where Dorless and Yamanada's out there, and Dorless has been effective.
Right.
Every time he's out there, just about he's being effective, and that's what. And again, when we drafted him, I talked about it. Berto talked about it. So this guy's gonna be one of those players for the Falcons once he's able to get his footing, and you're seeing it now. Another guy that is what 6.5 sacks himself right now.
Right.
So we'll see where these guys end up by the end of the season.
But crazy thing, Larry made a great point, and I thought about this, and this is the second time the Falcons done this. They should have kept Foyer over Deion Jones.
Oh yes.
They should have kept Nate over Troy Anderson. So now let's just right that wrong. Let's just go out, re-sign Diablo, re-sign Caden, and we good for the next couple of years at linebacker. That's all because you're gonna have to pay somebody, but you're gonna also have to make the right decision. And at linebacker, they just haven't done it the last 5 years. So it's time to just make the right decision and try to make the right decision at quarterback. If Joe Burrow is available, I say swing for the fences. You know me. I'm not scared to say anything. I know a lot of y'all don't agree with that, but trust me, we know what we getting in Joe Burrow. He's threw
Yeah, man.
43 touchdowns last year. That's probably more than Kurt and Mike in the last 3 years combined. So just think about that, man. Just think about that. But you got anything else before we get out of here? 'Cause I know it's
Nah,
late.
man. That's pretty much it for me, man. Again, if Burrow becomes available, you at least got to pick up the phone. I mean,
Facts.
you do. You do. I mean, I know Michael Penix's timetable plays a part of that, but we know that Kirk Cousins isn't the future. We know he isn't the answer. Joe Burrow is still young, and he's in his prime for the most part now too. He just needs really
Yeah.
like a team. He's a team that's going to continue to invest in him because I mean Cincinnati has allowed him to play part of the decision making and personnel and stuff like that, but still, if your team not going to spend the money or spend the money in the right positions, it's still going to be up a creek, man. So
Yeah. And that's facts, eh? Quarterback is the most important position on the field. And shit, next week we might not even have neither the one that we had this year. The only time will tell, depending on what they want to do with the head coaching position, because all that can be wiped out, all that can change. And shit, it could be a Joe Burrow, it could be a Kyler Murray, could be anybody. Who knows? But we'll see when the off season comes. I'm gonna have draft profiles, free agent profiles, breaking news, just all that good stuff, always leading up to the draft. So make sure y'all stay tuned like I do every year. But tell them where to find you, Chris, before we get out of here, man.
Hey man, A1 Forever Sports, that's a platform on YouTube. Please come over, like, comment, and subscribe, be a part of the A1 family. Also catch me over at the Hawks Digest. Hawks finally got off the schneid and got a big win tonight. Still got some big games coming in front of them. So they got to get ready for that. But catch me over there as well. Also, A1 Forever on TikTok. The real A1 Forever on TikTok, A1 Forever on Instagram, and on Twitter. Again, hey man, Joe Burrow becomes available. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm gonna swing for the fence every time. But y'all make sure y'all turn your Falcons on tonight, man. It's gonna be in the teens tonight. So in the high teens, low 20s. So make sure y'all got y'all faucet dripping because we don't need them pipes to crack. It's very expensive to get that stuff fixed. So make sure y'all, keep that water on. But find me at Smitty Sports Machine on YouTube. Also find me on Twitter at FatboySlam_21 because I'm always over there doing my thing, man. Look, Twitter be popping, man. So y'all got to come on over there and join the party. And we got, friends of the show that have their own spaces over there. So y'all please go check out those spaces. Always great conversation, and man, you can always pick up a great idea out of there. But for my boy Chris, this your boy Antoine Smith. We're gonna rock on, man. It's almost midnight. Time for us to get some sleep before work in the morning, and we're gonna holler at y'all later. Peace.